economic scandal.
Fraud. So
Not fraud, it's a scandal.
Scandal.
Why do you give a tender to somebody who does not have capacity to build? Why should you do that? You know a person that does not have the capacity to build.
Eagle FM lets you talk.
That's why I'm always telling people in Parliament, let me not take up my Katatura manners.
Right.
Because I grew up in Katatura. And I will not hesitate to tell you off if it is needed to do.
Be part of the debate by setting the agenda.
My response in terms of Rwanda at 6% is that we had been there before. We've had 6% growth before. It's not something that Namibia has not achieved in the past, and it's not something that Namibia will not be able to achieve in the future.
Eagle FM, the eye.
While you are busy enjoying your lunch, while you are busy having some times from 1300 hours, take time and listen to OTR News Bulletin.
On the Radio News Analysis, we go beyond the headlines. We don't just tell you what's happening. We ask why it's happening, how it affects ordinary Namibians, and what it means for the country's future. We examine the structures behind news, connect policy to people's lived realities, and bring in expert voices to make sense of where Namibia is heading.
You want to get into touch with global governance, global diplomacy, economic relation, trade, statistics, human and infrastructure development, and you want to see how policy planning and policy implementation is connected in Namibia, make time and listen to OTR from 1300. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to On the Radar News Bulletin with me, David Shombe. It's that time of the afternoon that we look at what is happening in the financial market, what is happening in terms of trade, what is happening in terms of human development. This is a platform that we look at what is trading, especially when it comes to the issues of national development. We are greeting policymakers, economists, trade analysts, developmental enthusiasts, and everybody who is interested in seeing the Namibia that you want and the realization of Namibia developmental goals, and indeed the regional and continental affairs, especially when you look at economics, trade, and what is necessary, especially when it comes to upliftment of human development. With me, David Shombe, from the hour of 1300 hours, will be able to give you what is happening in the continent and also beyond, and also to look at where we are standing as a country. Today's news bulletin will be able to start with Namibia Statistic Agency. It is stated that the Namibia Statistic Agency has, together with Bank of Namibia and also in collaboration with National Planning Commission, they have launched the Financial Inclusion Survey Report of 2025, and we'll be able to look at that context, especially when it comes to how many Namibians are included when it comes to access to finance, and we'll also be able to look at the relationship between financial access and also human development. From there, we'll look at the operationalization of Financial Institution Market Act, that is FIMA, especially in Namibia. We'll look at the communique, especially from Namibia Financial Institutions, and to look at Nafisa Consumer and Education Practitioner Wanjo Kaurimuye, especially looking at the operationalization and the meaning of Financial Institution Market Act, and also how can Namibia be able to be protected, and also what is the necessity of that. From there, we'll look at international foreign exchange rates, also be able to look at top exported commodities, and also rare earth minerals that are in demand, and also be able to look at the aspect of what is happening at an international market, especially when it comes to trade, and then we'll look at the geopolitical part, and to look at French lawmakers, especially when they approve social media ban from children under the age of 15. What does this mean, especially when it comes to children and also those who are, dealing with legal affairs, especially when it comes to the protection of mental health of young children, influence, and also protection from online predator, and also fraud and impersonification. But for now, let's look at a short commercial break. Then we'll be able to start with the launch of the Financial Inclusion Survey Report of 2025. What does it mean? What is entailed? And what is the context of the conversation? After that, we'll give you an opportunity to engage us in the studio at 083 288 401. That is 083 288 401. Stay tuned. We are here until 1400 hours.
The views and opinions expressed by our guests and callers are not those of Eagle FM and any of its staff.
Ngelo wapumbwa Eva tere ulikoni maondo tuto ingida ashike kapeno nweku dite opoye ekukulile oshafafana nongeshe faili mehola mo iho etike kovano ile koshiwana onongeshe fa yapumbwa kukara ya kovano okupitiramo Eagle FM otuna ebitoda njuka okukwetera oipindi konu konda doili nawa nuneudo otukwetera o special ngetashake ngeshe fa omarudi dayo loka opone ushendi fenawa nokumona oijamwili nawa ninge kwata fanona monika ko Eagle FM onora tatu imwe mbali heali nola natu heali mbali no heali ile ko berewa nora hetatu natu mbali o hetatu batatu o mafelane Eagle FM the eye lipuranengeno wapumbwa Eva tere ulikoni maondo tuto ingida ashike kapeno nweku dite opoye ekukulile oshafafana nongeshe faili mehola mo iho etike kovano ile koshiwana onongeshe fa yapumbwa kukara ya kovano okupitiramo Eagle FM otuna ebitoda njuka okukwetera oipindi konu konda doili nawa nuneudo otukwetera o special ngetashake ngeshe fa omarudi dayo loka opone ushendi fenawa nokumona oijamwili nawa ninge kwata fanona monika ko Eagle FM onora tatu imwe mbali heali nola natu heali mbali no heali ile ko berewa nora hetatu natu mbali o hetatu batatu o mafelane Eagle FM the eye.
No matter where you are, if you have a mobile device, you can tune into Namibia's #1 talk radio station by downloading the Eagle FM app on the Google Play Store or on the Apple App Store. Download the Eagle FM app to tune into live Eagle FM programming or to listen to podcasts of previous broadcasts. Eagle FM, Namibia's #1 talk radio station.
Eagle FM lets you express your constitutional rights of freedom of expression without fear of favor.
This is actually, to put it mildly, an economic scandal.
Fraud. So
Not fraud, it's a scandal.
Scandal.
Why do you give a tender to somebody who does not have capacity to build? Why should you do that? You know a person that does not have the capacity to build.
Eagle FM lets you talk.
That's why I'm always telling people in Parliament, let me not take up my Katatura menace.
Right.
Because I grew up in Katatura. And I will not hesitate to tell you off if it is needed to do.
Be part of the debate by setting the agenda.
My response in terms of Rwanda at 6% is that we had been there before. We've had 6% growth before. It's not something that Namibia has not achieved in the past, and it's not something Namibia will not be able to achieve in the future.
Eagle FM, the eye.
While you are busy enjoying your lunch, while you are busy having some times from 1300 hours, take time and listen to OTR News Bulletin.
On the Radio News Analysis, we go beyond the headlines. We don't just tell you what's happening. We ask why it's happening, how it affects ordinary Namibians, and what it means for the country's future. We examine the structures behind news, connect policy to people's lived realities, and bring in expert voices to make sense of where Namibia is heading.
You want to get into touch with global governance, global diplomacy, economic relation, trade, statistics, human and infrastructure development, and you want to see how policy planning and policy implementation is connected in Namibia, make time and listen to OTR from 1300 hours. Yeah, we are moving forward with on the Radar News Bulletin with me, David Shombe. We are starting with the Namibia Statistic Agency. Today, Namibia Statistic Agency, together with Bank of Namibia and also National Planning Commission, have launched the Namibia Financial Inclusion Survey report that was done looking at the year 2025 and was done from people at the age of 15 and above. The Financial Inclusion Survey look at the progress of Namibia, especially in terms of promoting Namibians when it comes to accessing to financial institution, especially formal financial institution, either it's a banking or non-banking financial access to credit, access to financial products, and also to look at the level of their economy, income, and also to look at economic behaviors of Namibian consumers. One of the things that stood out in today's report is to look at Namibia and also the national minimum wage, where it is indicated that 54% of Namibians, that is more than half of the population, based on the survey in terms of statistical distribution, indicated that 54% of Namibian adults earn 2,000 Namibian dollars or less than 2,000 Namibian dollars per month. And it's also indicated that only 8% of Namibians that are earning more than 11,000 Namibian dollars monthly. And to look into that context, I got into contact and communication with one of the acting senior statistician in NSA, especially to look at unpacking and discussing that report. I got into communication with Mr. Ian Ikosa, especially to look at that aspect. He's an acting senior statistician on welfare and gender, demographic and social statistics. So let's look at this conversation and come back shortly, particularly looking at that development. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to On the Radar News Bulletin with me, Devin Shombe. We are continuing with economic affairs and issues of bread and butter. Today, the Namibia Statistics Agency has launched the Financial Inclusion Survey Report 2025 that is looking at Namibian adults, particularly looking at the way they handle their finance and also to look at what's happening, especially in the Namibia financial sector. For us to unpack this, I'm joined by Mr. Ian Ikosa, just to help us to unpack, especially looking at this report. Mr. Ian, good afternoon and welcome to On the Radar.
Good afternoon and thank you very much. Just a correction there. It's not acting senior statistician general. It's just acting senior statistician for welfare and gender statistics.
Yes, thank you for that. Let us look at the report itself. Looking at the 2025 Financial Inclusion Survey, maybe just to give an overview of today's report, what is the context of it and what are some of the details that the public should hear?
Thank you very much. It's quite an honor for me to be here with you this afternoon. It's already afternoon. So we are quite excited that we have finally launched, the 2025 Namibia Financial Inclusion Survey. So this report is actually the fifth, iteration of this survey. So we have already done 4 of them, as it was already mentioned during the presentation that the first 2 were done by Finmark Trust, and then we did the previous one, which was 2017, and now we have done the 2025. Okay, so this survey provides high quality demand side data on financial access and usage for the Namibians aged 15 years or older. Okay, so the big picture here, what we are looking for is the overall financial inclusion, which has grown significantly, as we have seen during the presentation, reaching 86% of the population which is included, which is up from now 78% in 2017. So financial inclusion has grown significantly from 78% in 2017 to 86% where we are now. Okay, so this means that approximately 400,000, 250, it's roughly around 400,000, more adults that are now participating in the financial system, so to say, those that are included. Okay, so the survey also looks at the landscape, which is now formal and informal, which is driven by formal banking, with 81% of the population being formally served. So these are people now that are using financial services with formal banks that we have, the First National Banks, the Bank Windhoek, and so on. And also 75% of the population that are using, meanwhile, 27% of the population utilizes informal mechanisms. So what does this mean? It means that it's people that are using formal financial services other than from commercial banks. Yes.
Now, let us look at financial inclusion and also the impact of financial inclusion, especially to human being. Because I was looking at the numbers, and one of the things that struck me is the aspect of having over 54% of Namibians that are earning less. And one may want to know to say, when we are increasing in terms of financial inclusion, what impact does that have, especially to a human being?
Yes, and you are very right indeed. We could see that, more than 50% of the population, the adult population, which is 15 years and above, they earn between $1 and $2,000.
Yeah.
So that was quite striking.
Yeah.
But this is what the data is revealing to us.
Yeah.
But now, when it comes to uplifting human development through financial inclusion, what does this mean?
Yeah.
It means that financial inclusion is a cornerstone for poverty reduction and economic resilience. Of course, access to savings, insurance, and safe credit will allow now households, especially these ones that are earning less, to weather financial shocks without disruptions to their lives. For example, if they encounter anything, are they able to go to the banks and get financial access? Okay, access to credit directly supports basic human development. So this report really shows that individuals primarily borrow to secure food. As we have seen, that about 51% of the adult population, they borrow so that they can buy food, and also fund for education and transportation, just to mention. And also, it will also bridge the gap between digital and mobile banking, which is reducing actually the long travel times to physical bank branches. As you know now, when you are in rural areas, it's quite difficult for you to access finances. But if we have these mobile wallets, anybody can just send money anytime. Yes, so this is how it's going to uplift human development.
Yeah, Mr. Ian, before we go to other questions, especially that are related to collaboration, I want us to look at financial literacy.
Yes.
One may want to know to say, for a very long time, Namibia have been with different initiatives on financial literacy. One may want to say, if I am financially educated, I become more disciplined. But when you look at the numbers and data, you're also asking yourself to say, financial access and financial literacy. Maybe what is the relationship between and what is the progress of Namibia financial literacy? Are we getting there in terms of understanding how the finance is working, or we just want to know where to get the money? But are we really responsible when you are looking at the data?
Oh, it's a very nice one. Financial literacy just means that you are aware. Like, are you able to make your funds last? For example, as you've seen, I think in one of our slides, to say, are people really, managing their financial resources lasting up to the next, maybe say the next month and so on. And we have seen. I just can't remember exactly what the figure was, but it's showing we are getting there indeed. We are trying. And also on the usage, it means what was the question again on the usage?
No, are we really using the finance with the knowledge that we got, especially looking at how Namibia have been trying so hard to teach people how to use finance? Are we getting there? Are the behavior of the people changing with time, or we still have a long way to go? Or there are other factors involved regarding that?
There might be other factors, because, it's not really everybody who can just access the finances. You really need, for you to be able to get now, for example, maybe a loan, you need to, as we have seen, I think in one of our slides, to say, why are people not borrowing? Is because probably they don't have, a good credit record, so to say. So, there are other factors, but I'm sure we can delve deep within the data to reveal some of these things that you're asking.
Thank you. Let us look at collaboration. What is people have been speaking about institutional coordination, especially dealing with statistics and policy making. In coming up with this report, what level of collaboration can you point out, and what are some of the institutions that are involved, and what is their role in that aspect?
Thank you very much. So the importance of collaboration, in collecting financial data is quite critical. As we have seen, this survey, the successful execution of the 2025 financial inclusion really relied on a strong relationship between Namibia Statistics Agency, the Bank of Namibia and Financial Literacy Initiative, not forgetting our international partner, which is Finmac Trust. Okay, so by working together, these entities or institutions, ensure that the survey data produced is fit for purpose, which is very, very important. This is one of our missions as the NSA. We want to produce quality statistics that is fit for purpose. In other words, it should be used, for its purpose, okay, to come up with better programs that are going to ensure the wellness of the people. Okay. So completing this field data with administrative records from diverse institutions will create a robust, airtight baseline for tracking national objectives like the Namibia Financial Sector Strategy that was mentioned here. As you have heard, the governors are quoting that.
Yeah.
Okay, collaborative data sharing allows policymakers, regulators, and private services providers to clearly identify and address the exact barriers, like affordability, as we have seen from the presentation. Affordability is one of those barriers why people are not accessing financial services.
Yeah.
Probably they don't have that minimum. For you to be able to keep a bank account active, it needs to have funds.
Yeah.
So those are one of the reasons, and also distance, as we have seen, that more people are really financially included, but we can still see that, rural areas are still lagging behind compared to urban areas.
Indeed.
Yes.
Lastly, if you have to give any advice, either is to researcher, academician, students, and just ordinary Namibian, especially just to look at this financial inclusion report, what advice can you give, particularly in terms of data usage and also the lesson that you learn, because there is always something that's coming from this report?
Yes, thank you very much. As we have seen, even I will quote myself, when I did my master's in statistics, I actually used the financial inclusion data of 2017. So, and you can see there's actually a trend, when you look now on the website, you can see that a lot of people are actually quoting the Namibia Financial Inclusion Survey data. So this is really an opportunity for young Namibians, or even those that are in the academia, to actually use this data. There's quite a lot that we can unpack from this data. So what we have released now is just the basic report, but you can dig deeper really and find out some of the things that are really affecting people when it comes to financial inclusion. So we encourage the nation. The data from the NSA is actually very free. All you need is just to contact our office. We should be able to give you the micro data, and then you can use it for academic purposes.
Yes, thank you very much. That was Mr. Ian Inkosa. Just to correct, he is acting senior statistician for welfare and gender statistics within the Namibia Statistic Agency. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for your input.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to more collaborations. Or more. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to our office. Our doors are always open.
Indeed. Yeah, that is what's happening when it comes to Namibia financial inclusion. And what is on the table is that the Bank of Namibia has an overall strategy that is financial sector transformation strategy. Within the Bank of Namibia strategic objectives is to make sure that by 2035, around 90% of the Namibians are financially included and they have access to formal financial institutions, including informal market. Then the question is the relationship between financial inclusion and also human development. On top of that, the chief of Bank of Namibia, or the governor of Bank of Namibia, that is Ebsen Waguta, has indicated that financial inclusion should be assessed not only based on how many people are included, but look at the contribution of that financial access to the advancement or positive impact of human lives. He also indicated that it's quite necessary when we look at financial inclusion to also look at the aspect of digital capabilities, and also how can financial statistics be used to make evidence-based decision. One of the things that the Bank of Namibia has indicated, particularly in clarification between financial inclusion and also upliftment of human beings, particularly looking at economic inequality. He indicated that access to finance could not be the only factor when it comes to upliftment of human lives. Speak about industry upliftment and also speak about job creation. For now, let's look at a short commercial break. Then we'll come back to look at FEMA, and you'll also be able to look at the context of cyber security in Namibia to say what is the communication from a communication regulatory authority, especially when it comes to cyber risk, where is Namibia standing, and also what is happening, particularly at the second quarter of 2026. Stay tuned. We are here until 1400 hours.
The views and opinions expressed by our guests and callers are not those of Eagle FM and any of its staff.
Lipura wapumbwa Eva tere ulikoni maondo tutoingida ashike kapeno nweku dite opoye ekukulile. Oshafafana nongeshe faili meholamo ihoetike kovano ile koshiwana. Onongeshe fa yapumbwa kukaraya kovano. Okupitiramo Eagle FM otuna mitoda njuka okukwetera oipindi konu kondado nawa. Nuneudo o tukwetera o special ngeta shake ngeshefa o marudi dayo loka opone ujendi fenawa nokumona oijamwili nawa ninge kwata fanona monika ko Eagle FM onora tatu imwe bali heali nola natu heali bali no heali ile ko berewa nora tatu natu bali o hetatu batatu o mafelane Eagle FM the eye. Lipuranengelo wapumbwa Eva tere ulikoni maondo tutoingida ashike kapeno nweku dite opoye ekukulile. Oshafafana nongeshe faili meholamo ihoetike kovano ile koshiwana. Onongeshe fa yapumbwa kukaraya kovano. Okupitiramo Eagle FM otuna mitoda njuka okukwetera oipindi konu kondado nawa. Nuneudo o tukwetera o special ngeta shake ngeshefa o marudi dayo loka opone ujendi fenawa nokumona oijamwili nawa ninge kwata fanona monika ko Eagle FM onora tatu imwe bali heali nola natu heali bali no heali ile ko berewa nora tatu natu bali o hetatu batatu o mafelane Eagle FM the eye.
No matter where you are, if you have a mobile device, you can tune into Namibia's #1 talk radio station by downloading the Eagle FM app on the Google Play Store or on the Apple App Store. Download the Eagle FM app to tune into live Eagle FM programming or to listen to podcasts of previous broadcasts. Eagle FM, Namibia's #1 talk radio station.
Eagle FM lets you express your constitutional rights of freedom of expression without fear of favor.
This is actually, to put it mildly, an economic scandal.
Fraud. So
Not fraud, it's a scandal. Why do you give a tender to somebody who does not have capacity to build? Why should you do that? You know a person that does not have a capacity to build.
Eagle FM lets you talk.
That's why I'm always telling people in Parliament, let me not take up my Katatura manners.
Right.
Because I grew up in Katatura. And I will not hesitate to tell you off if it is needed to do.
Be part of the debate by setting the agenda.
My response in terms of Rwanda at 6% is that we had been there before. We've had 6% growth before. It's not something that Namibia has not achieved in the past, and it's not something that Namibia will not be able to achieve in the future.
Eagle FM, the eye.
While you are busy enjoying your lunch, while you are busy having some times from 1300 hours, take time and listen to OTR News Bulletin.
On the Radio News Analysis, we go beyond the headlines. We don't just tell you what's happening. We ask why it's happening, how it affects ordinary Namibians, and what it means for the country's future. We examine the structures behind news, connect policy to people's lived realities, and bring in expert voices to make sense of where Namibia is heading.
You want to get into touch with global governance, global diplomacy, economic relation, trade, statistics, human and infrastructure development, and you want to see how policy planning and policy implementation is connected in Namibia, make time and listen to OTR from 1300 hours. Yeah, we are moving forward with on the Radar News Bulletin with me, David Shombe. We are looking at the aspect of economic development in Namibia, what is happening within the financial sector, what aspect of development we are speaking about, and also to look at this context. Now let us look at one of the things that also stood out especially when it comes to financial inclusion. It's the issue of gender, and also the issue of gender and inclusion, to say how many of Namibians on what sector of gender is included, especially when it comes to financial inclusion. It is indicated that financial access strength by sex, which are not necessarily based on 100% in terms of distribution of percentage. It's indicating that looking at the statistics is that 79.4% of female are banked, which means that they have access to formal financial institution and also financial services and financial product. While made, you have 71.5 percentage who are banked, which means that they have access to financial services and also financial products. And the bigger part, when you look at the informal sector, you realize to say male continue to be least accommodated, particularly when it comes to financial access in comparison to women. And that is one of the things that we need to look at, especially when we are looking at demographic, to say in terms of sex, who is included, what are some of the reasons, and why demographics are changing. And one of the things that was emphasized, particularly by the Manager for Communication, Stakeholder Engagement of NSA, the aspect of to say what is happening, especially when it comes to male. Many females have access to financial institutions. What happened to male? Are we blacklisted? Are we not participating? Or what is going on? And also to look at sectoral stratification of statistics, to say from a strategic point of view, if you have a national survey, what is the role of regional developmental priorities, particularly when it comes to fragmentation and also distribution of these statistics, particularly evidence-based development, especially at the regional level. Now, let us look at what the consumer education practitioner from NAMFISA has to say, particularly with FIMA. Looking at FIMA Act, that is known as Financial Institutions and Market Act number 2 of 2021, which is operationalized. What is the context of NAMFISA, particularly looking at the context of FIMA, and also to say in operationalization of this act, what are some of the benefits, what does FIMA mean to customers, and also the safer savings and investment. So let us look at this aspect, especially the communique from Wanjo Kaurimuje. Wanjo Kaurimwe from NAMFISA. Let us look at this and come back shortly.
On the 1st of May 2026, Namibia entered a new era in the financial regulation with the commencement of the Financial Institutions and Markets Act, known as FIMA. More than just a new law, FIMA represents a major step forward in strengthening consumer protection, financial inclusion, and confidence in the Namibia's non-banking financial sector. The Financial Institutions and Markets Act, FIMA, officially came into force in Namibia on the 1st of May 2026 under the supervision of the Namibia Financial Institutions Supervisory Authority, NAMFISA. But the crucially and the controversial draft regulation regarding compulsory 75% pension preservation has been officially put on hold, and it is completely excluded from the current rollout.
Yeah, that is what is happening, particularly looking at financial institutions and marketing and Markets Act number 2 of 2021. So let's look at a short commercial break and come back shortly to look at other aspects which are happening in the context of Namibia, and also to ask a difficult question, especially regarding Namibia and also cyber security. Where are we standing? Is Namibia secured? Are we safe in terms of our cyber walls, or we are vulnerable? At what context, how many incidents are reported, and also what can be done, especially protection in the world of cyber. Let's look at a short commercial break and come back shortly.
The views and opinions expressed by our guests and callers are not those of Eagle FM and any of its staff.
lipuranengeno wapumbwa eva tere ulikoni maondo tutoingida ashike kapeno nweku dite opoye ekukulile oshafafana nongeshe faili meholamo ihewetike kovano ile koshiwana onongeshe fa yapumbwa kukara ya kovano okupitiramo Eagle FM otuna ebitoda njuka okukwetera oipindi konu kondado nawa nuneudo otukwetera o special ngetashake ngeshe fa omarudi dayo loka opone ushendi fenawa nokumona oijamwili nawa ningepata fanona monika ko Eagle FM onora etatu imwe mbali heali nola natu heali bali no heali ile konderewa nora hetatu natu bali o hetatu batatu o mafelane Eagle FM the eye lipuranengeno wapumbwa eva tere ulikoni maondo tutoingida ashike kapeno nweku dite opoye ekukulile oshafafana nongeshe faili meholamo ihewetike kovano ile koshiwana onongeshe fa yapumbwa kukara ya kovano okupitiramo Eagle FM otuna ebitoda njuka okukwetera oipindi konu kondado nawa nuneudo otukwetera o special ngetashake ngeshe fa omarudi dayo loka opone ushendi fenawa nokumona oijamwili nawa ningepata fanona monika ko Eagle FM onora etatu imwe mbali heali nola natu heali bali no heali ile konderewa nora hetatu natu bali o hetatu batatu o mafelane Eagle FM the eye.
No matter where you are, if you have a mobile device, you can tune into Namibia's #1 talk radio station by downloading the Eagle FM app on the Google Play Store or on the Apple App Store. Download the Eagle FM app to tune into live Eagle FM programming or to listen to podcasts of previous broadcasts. Eagle FM, Namibia's #1 talk radio station.
Eagle FM lets you express your constitutional rights of freedom of expression without fear of favor.
This is actually, to put it mildly, an economic scandal.
Fraud.
Not fraud, it's a scandal. Why do you give a tender to somebody who does not have capacity to build? Why should you do that? You know a person that does not have the capacity to build.
Eagle FM lets you talk.
That's why I'm always telling people in Parliament, let me not take up my Katatura manners.
Right.
Because I grew up in Katatura. And I will not hesitate to tell you off if it is needed to do.
Be part of the debate by setting the agenda.
My response in terms of Rwanda at 6% is that we had been there before. We've had 6% growth before. It's not something that Namibia has not achieved in the past, and it's not something that Namibia will not be able to achieve in the future.
Eagle FM, the eye.
Yeah, we are moving forward with on the Radar News Bulletin. What is happening, especially from Communication Regulatory Authority, especially looking at Namibia Cyber Security Incident Response Team, the institution that is responsible for the protection of Namibia and also coordinating effort, especially when it comes to fighting and responding from cyber vulnerability or cyber security incidents, has released a statement which is indicating that the second quarter of 2026 highlighting the need for organization and institution to strengthen their cyber security measures and remain vigilant against evolving cyber threats. This is an indication, especially when it comes to the aspect of Namibia continue to be vulnerable. It is stated that the period of April to June 2026, total 500,000 or over 500,000 cyber vulnerability were detected across Namibia landscape. But for us to look at this aspect, let us look at what the communication from Communication Regulatory Authority is indicating, especially in the context of cyber threats and what we need to do.
The Namibia Cybersecurity Incident Response Team, NAMSUD, housed at the Communications Regulatory Authority of Namibia, CRAN, is urging organizations and the public to strengthen their cybersecurity measures following a significant increase in cyber threats during the second quarter of 2026. Between April and June, NAMSUD detected more than 513,000 cyber vulnerabilities, an increase of nearly 40%, while cyber events rose by almost 57%, with over 161,000 events recorded. These figures highlight the growing importance of securing our digital systems. Organizations are encouraged to address exposed services, regularly update their systems, strengthen access controls, and report cybersecurity incidents as early as possible. Individuals should also use strong and unique passwords, enable multi-factor authentication, keep their devices and software updated, and remain vigilant against phishing and other online scams. You can report cyber incidences, that is to NAMCERT at report@nam-ccert.na or by calling 061 222 666.
Yeah, that is what is happening, especially from the cyber security. To say how protected are you, how safe is my phone, how safe is my computer, and what can be done apart from the lesson. How many experts do we have in Namibia, especially protecting not only our system, but protecting our finance, and also how much of an investment is invested, especially when it comes to research and development, particularly in the area of cyber, and also how much is being lost in Namibia, especially due to cyber incidents. So for now, let's go back to a short commercial break, then we can continue with international foreign exchange rates. Then we also look at what is happening beyond Namibia, what is happening in the continent and also in the world. However, you can still engage us in the studio at 083-288-401, 083-288-401.
The views and opinions expressed by our guests and callers are not those of Eagle FM and any of its staff.
ngeno wapumbwa eva tere ulikoni maondo tutoingida ashike kapeno nweku dite opoye ekukulile oshafafana nongeshe faili meholamo ihoetike kovano ile koshiwana onongeshe fa yapumbwa kukaraya kovano okupitiramo Eagle FM otuna ebitoda njuka okukwetera oipindi konu kondado inawa noneudo otukwetera o special ngetashake ngeshe fa omarudi dayo loka opone ushendi fenawa nokumona oijamo ili nawa ningepata fanona monika ko Eagle FM onora itatu imwe bali heali nola natu heali bali no heali ile komberewa nora hetatu natu bali o hetatu batatu o mafelane Eagle FM the eye lipurane ngeno wapumbwa eva tere ulikoni maondo tutoingida ashike kapeno nweku dite opoye ekukulile oshafafana nongeshe faili meholamo ihoetike kovano ile koshiwana onongeshe fa yapumbwa kukaraya kovano okupitiramo Eagle FM otuna ebitoda njuka okukwetera oipindi konu kondado inawa noneudo otukwetera o special ngetashake ngeshe fa omarudi dayo loka opone ushendi fenawa nokumona oijamo ili nawa ningepata fanona monika ko Eagle FM onora itatu imwe bali heali nola natu heali bali no heali ile komberewa nora hetatu natu bali o hetatu batatu o mafelane Eagle FM the eye.
Do you need toiletries and household cleaners? You won't get it cheaper than at USave up to the 7th of June. Get 2 50mm jars of Vaseline for only 25 Namibian dollars. Smell fresh with Playboy roll-on deodorant for just 18.99 Namibian dollars. Get 2 kilograms of Surf's hand washing powder for just 49.99 Namibian dollars. Get 750ml Sunlight dishwashing liquid for 28.99 Namibian dollars. And get 2 boxes of Cares Maxi sanitary pads for only 12.99 Namibian dollars. USave, where else?
Omafelane Eagle FM the eye.
No matter where you are, if you have a mobile device, you can tune into Namibia's #1 talk radio station by downloading the Eagle FM app on the Google Play Store or on the Apple App Store. Download the Eagle FM app to tune into live Eagle FM programming or to listen to podcasts of previous broadcasts. Eagle FM, Namibia's #1 talk radio station.
Eagle FM lets you express your constitutional rights of freedom of expression without fear of favor.
This is actually, to put it mildly, an economic scandal.
Fraud.
Not fraud, it's a scandal. Why do you give a tender to somebody who does not have capacity to build? Why should you do that? You know a person that does not have the capacity to build.
Eagle FM lets you talk.
That's why I'm always telling people in Parliament, let me not take up my Katatura manners.
Right.
Because I grew up in Katatura. And I will not hesitate to tell you off if it is needed to do.
Be part of the debate by setting the agenda.
My response in terms of Rwanda at 6% is that we had been there before. We've had 6% growth before. It's not something that Namibia has not achieved in the past, and it's not something Namibia will not be able to achieve in the future.
Eagle FM, the eye.
It's 45 minutes past the hour of 1. We are moving forward with the Radar News Bulletin. Looking at international affairs, it is stated that France Parliament backs social media ban for children under the age of 15 in EU first policy approach. Let us look at France 24, especially looking at that context to say children under the age of 15 will not be allowed, especially to use social media for their protection. Let's look at this context and also come back shortly.
To put away their... Thus, France has made a major move to protect its children against the toxic nature of social media. A ban has been approved by lawmakers this Tuesday. It means that most popular apps with youngsters are now beyond their reach until the age of 15. And this move follows incidents where social media has played a role in personal tragedies, as well as the increasing awareness of how the toxic nature of some social networks weighs on the lives of youngsters. President Emmanuel Macron, when launching the project, urged young people to put away their smartphones and read books to become smarter and better people. Well, now the National Assembly has acted and the law has been put into place, and France becomes the first European nation to make such a move. Clovis Casali has been following this for us. He joins us now live. Clovis, tell us how this all unfolded.
As expected, an overwhelming majority of MPs backed this bill to ban social media for teenagers and children aged under 15. 279 lawmakers backed this bill. Only 81 voted against, and mostly from the ranks of the radical left France Unbowed party. Those who are pushing for this bill said it's a necessity to protect French children and teenagers. And the MP from Emmanuel Macron's centrist bloc, who was pushing this law, presenting it to the National Assembly, just after the votes, left the room saying, we made it, we've achieved what we needed to do. And this for the children of France, according to her. She also told us earlier in the day that, of course, some will find ways to still get on social media, but everything needs to be done to protect France's children and teenagers, as it is proven that social media has a devastating impact on mental health.
Interesting, Clovis, that politicians who are always so keen to pass their message are willing to go without this, without getting sort of kids young, if you like, getting a message to them. They're actually sort of willing to put that to one side and act, as they see it, in the good of young people in France.
Yeah, that is what is happening in France, especially when it comes to children under the age of 15. Will not be able to access social media. New regulations are being presented. The question is that what is Africa doing? Do we need to follow in their footsteps, or we have our own strategy, especially when it comes to that aspect? So let us look at the Namibian dollar and foreign exchange rates, particularly to key indicators, and also to look at the key financial or key currencies that are being used, particularly in terms of global trade. The euro is trading at 19.35 Namibian dollars. Pound sterling still leading with 22.68 US dollar, standing at 16.96 Namibian dollars. Looking at that context, let's go to a short commercial break. Looking at the top trading commodities in the world, and also top trading minerals at what rate, particularly in terms of global price. And we'll be back in a short period of time as I indicated, you can engage us at 083-288-401, 083-288-401, and give your contribution. Stay tuned. We are coming back shortly.
The views and opinions expressed by our guests and callers are not those of Eagle FM and any of its staff.
Lipura wapumbwa Eva tere ulikoni maondo tutoingida ashike kapeno nweku dite opoye ekukulile. Oshafafana nongeshe faili meholamo ihoetike kovano ile koshiwana. Onongeshe fa yapumbwa kukaraya kovano. Okupitiramo Eagle FM otuna ebitoda njuka. Okukwetera oipindi konu konda doili nawa. Nuneudo o tukwetera o speciala ngeta shake ngeshe fa omarudi dayo loka. Opone ushendi fenawa nokumona oijamoili nawa. Ninge pata fanona monika ko Eagle FM onora etatu imwe mbali heali nola natu heali mbali no heali ile ko berewa nora hetatu natu mbali o hetatu batatu o mafelane Eagle FM the eye. Lipuranenge no wapumbwa Eva tere ulikoni maondo tutoingida ashike kapeno nweku dite opoye ekukulile. Oshafafana nongeshe faili meholamo ihoetike kovano ile koshiwana. Onongeshe fa yapumbwa kukaraya kovano. Okupitiramo Eagle FM otuna ebitoda njuka. Okukwetera oipindi konu konda doili nawa. Nuneudo o tukwetera o speciala ngeta shake ngeshe fa omarudi dayo loka. Opone ushendi fenawa nokumona oijamoili nawa. Ninge pata fanona monika ko Eagle FM onora etatu imwe mbali heali nola natu heali mbali no heali ile ko berewa nora hetatu natu mbali o hetatu batatu o mafelane Eagle FM the eye.
No matter where you are, if you have a mobile device, you can tune into Namibia's #1 talk radio station by downloading the Eagle FM app on the Google Play Store or on the Apple App Store. Download the Eagle FM app to tune into live Eagle FM programming or to listen to podcasts of previous broadcasts. Eagle FM, Namibia's #1 talk radio station.
Eagle FM lets you express your constitutional rights of freedom of expression without fear of favor.
This is actually, to put it mildly, an economic scandal.
Fraud.
Not fraud, it's a scandal. Why do you give a tender to somebody who does not have capacity to build? Why should you do that? You know a person that does not have a capacity to build.
Eagle FM lets you talk.
That's why I'm always telling people in Parliament, let me not take up my Katatura manners.
Right.
Because I grew up in Katatura. And I will not hesitate to tell you off if it is needed to do.
Be part of the debate by setting the agenda.
My response in terms of Rwanda at 6% is that we had been there before. We've had 6% growth before. It's not something that Namibia has not achieved in the past, and it's not something that Namibia will not be able to achieve in the future.
Eagle FM, the eye.
Yeah, we are moving forward with on the Radar News Bulletin. It's 53 minutes past the hour of 1. And to look at the top 10 minerals in demand in the world, and also to look at their price today. Number 1, we have copper. Copper is leading in terms of minerals demand in the world. Top 10, number 1. And the price is approximately at $13.50 per kg. And also 6,125 per metric ton. That is our copper. It's worth. And in terms of number 2, you have lithium, demand drivers, and the backbone of modern battery, which include battery storage and consumer electronics and EV batteries. The price is trading at 22.40 or 22 US dollars and 40 cents per kg. Then the number 3, you still have gold. That is most demanded product in the world. At number 3, which is trading at approximately 130,000 per kg or 4,045 per troy ounce in terms of weighing of gold. Then you have cobalt, which is mainly used for manufacturing high-performance lithium-ion batteries, and the price in the international market, according to Trade Economics, is at 32.40 US dollars per kg. Then you have rare earth elements, followed by nickel, graphite, platinum, and diamond, which is at number 9. In terms of global demand, diamond still in demand, but in the top 10. It's at number 9. Now, apart from minerals, let us look at key commodities that are in demand. You have crude oil, natural gas, gold, iron ore, and soya beans. That is at number 5. To look at that aspect, to say crude oil and gold continue to be one of the most products in demand and being used in the world. So that is what is happening, especially looking at that context. Before we conclude, especially with On the Radar News Bulletin, is to look at Democratic Republic of Congo. Apart from being the battleground for minerals and the battleground to defeat Ebola virus, it's also a battleground in terms of politics. It stated that Democratic Republic of Congo opposition cancelled the protests after the president announced national dialogue. This indicated that Felix Tshisekedi, who is vying for the 3rd term in governance of the richest country in the world in terms of mineral deposit, the Republic of or Democratic Republic of Congo, is looking at how to deal with issues of governance and also issues of political contestation. Opposition parties in Democratic Republic of Congo are proposing, or they are postponing, the protests after the president agreed to launch a national dialogue, especially to look at that context. So for now, let's look at this news and come back and conclude.
Opposition parties in the Democratic Republic of the Congo are postponing a protest after President Felix Tshisekedi announced the launch of a national dialogue. The planned protest was organised by the C64 platform that brings together several opposition groups. It takes its name from Article 64 of the DRC's constitution, which grants citizens the right to resist an unconstitutional seizure of power. C64 has accused Tshisekedi of using a referendum on a new constitution to pave the way for a 3rd presidential term. Following mediation by the African Union, the two sides agreed the dialogue will be led by religious organizations and must be convened before August 15th. No protests are planned in the meantime, C64 said, unless the government resorts to what it called provocations, such as enacting the referendum bill, paving the way for the constitutional amendment.
Yeah, that is what is happening, especially to look at demographic and to look at Democratic Republic of Congo and also its political activities, and also to look at what is context, events to look into. Must be able to look at the continuation of the extraordinary session of African Union, especially that is looking at ending of AIDS.
Care that builds with you. That's the rollover benefit from NHB. When you claim less than a defined amount of your day-to-day benefits in a year, the unused amount is carried over for the next year, like a savings account for your health. You can use your rollover benefit in many ways, from co-payments to medical costs usually not covered, even contribution holidays. Learn more at nhb.com.na. T's and C's apply. NHB, rooted in care for you.
Your health, your life, your peace of mind. NHB, we're about you.
Yeah, events to look at is the extraordinary session that is continue going on, especially on the context of African Union, and the main conversation is to look at the ending of AIDS by 2030, and also to look at the aspect of the fundings on fighting diseases in Africa. Those are some of the key events to look at. So, from me, David Shombe, bye-bye for now. See you around. And I'll leave you in the good hands of Peneambeko Jonas from Andangwa to give you Ongundana Dingi. So, see you around and sharp.
The views and opinions expressed by our guests and callers are not those of Eagle FM and any of its staff.
ngeno wapombwa Eva Tere ulikoni maondo toingida ashike kapeno mwe kupite opo ekukuli